Hey guys, thought I'd just let you know it seems like we could have some details here about what the pricing is going to be on the next iPad. Now, Mac rumors has been, 95 Mac, have been getting out the rumor here that we're going to have the same prices on the iPad 3 or slash iPad HD or slash whatever now Apple's going to call the next tab, and that the price is going to be the same as with the iPad 2. Oh, big deal. No, probably not, but it's probably good to know for some people that were speculating that the price is going to go up, and just because it's going to have a Retina display. But something that people need to keep in mind here is that it's a year later, so it's cheaper to do now compared to a year before, and also I think Apple want to keep the same price so it feels like people get used to when it's the same price when they bought the original iPad and then buy this new one. I mean, it's very simple. And also some people were saying here that okay, first of all, they have the 16 gigabyte variant, the Wi-Fi only, 499, and then 32 599, and the 64 699. Some people were saying here that it's weird that they're going from adding a 16 gigabyte extra, and that's $100, but when they're going from the 32 gigabyte to the 64 gigabyte, then that's 32 gigabytes extra, and that's also only $100. But they're saying that okay, but the 32 gigabyte model should then cost like 549. Now I think this is a marketing strategy that when people look at the prices and they first say, okay, should I buy the 16 gigabyte variant, 499? No, I probably want to go with the 32 gigabyte. Then I get 16 gigabyte extra for $100, and then they will see like, oh, I might just take the 64 gigabyte variant because that's also $100, and then I get more, and then I'm gonna win, yay! And I think that kind of works, and I also think that it looks better to have a price like 599 than 549. And I don't think that they would sell as many 64 gigabyte models if they would have the 549 price on the 32 gigabyte variant in the States. Now, the interesting thing here is that this is kind of like, when I look at these prices, it looks cheap as hell comparing to my country. In my country, we're gonna just have to pay like $200 at least extra for like the 32 gigabyte model. It's kind of insane how the prices are different, and of course it's cheaper in the States just because that's where Apple are. You don't have to pay all these weird tax and all of these things that they add in other countries. And also, obviously, we had the Wi-Fi plus 3G variants, same prices over here, 629, 16 gigabytes, 32 gigabytes, 729, 64 gigabyte, 829. And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go ahead and pick up an iPad 3 once it's available in my country. Hopefully this month. I'm pretty sure about it's gonna be this month later. It could be Apple could do the same thing as they did with the iPhone. That first they launched it in the States in mid that month. They unveil it early that month. Then in mid that month they basically released it for their own country, the US, and then like 2 weeks later they did unveil it in a ton of other countries like in Europe and stuff like that. So they can do the same thing here. It's a little disappointing if they do it, because I would just love to get the iPad the same time as people in the States are getting it. That would be cool and awesome, so I can get a first quick look and hands-on. And I also want to really want to compare it to my Transform Prime, see how it stack up against that tab in gaming and all of those things. It's gonna have this new dual core or quad core processor, but we will see about that. Yeah, bye bye.